going in and out of clinic for blood tests, which they all came back negative. Weeks went by, and soon I was so sick I couldn't walk properly. The doctor suggested I have a chest X-ray and diagnosed me with TB. I was given normal TB drugs right away, but it didn't seem to work. The weeks flew by, and the doctor requested another sputum test. Then finally I was told I have a multi-drug resistant TB. I had no idea what he was talking about, only that I was giving a handful of drugs, and it was the beginning of a very long journey. I took hundreds of MDR drugs over a couple of months. Then one morning I woke up and everything was so quiet. I tried to turn on the television. There was no sound. I thought maybe there was something blocking my ears, so I took an earbud, but still there was no sound. The next morning I told the hospital nurse that I couldn't hear. She said something, but I couldn't make up what she was saying. She sent me to the audio department to have my ears tested. The audiologist wrote down that I was deaf. I couldn't understand how it was possible. Then just when I thought I couldn't get any worse, the doctor said I was resistant to the MDR drugs too. So now, I was no longer MDR, I was pre-XDR. I was sent to the pre-XDR ward where I thought the drugs would be different, but they were not. Just that they stopped the kanamycin injection, but they said to take more even toxic drugs. Then the doctor at the pre-XDR ward saw that there was something growing in my lungs. We thought maybe it was cancer or tumor. So I was sent to another hospital to be examined there. It was a relief when they said it was liquid growing in my lungs. It wasn't cancer, no tumor, but I ended up with a broken lip and a collapsed lung. And spent 3 weeks carrying a tarnished bottle, but I survived and doctors were helping with my recovery and I was sent home. The finish line was in sight, or so I thought. But just a few months before my treatment ended, I was told pre-XDR drugs also stopped working. My hopes were crushed. Well, this was a very difficult time for me. In my own understanding, at the time, I didn't know anyone who survived XDR-TB. It was when I met Dr. Jenny Hughes from MSF or Medecins Sans Frontieres. She became a huge support for me during my final treatment and a great ally in the fight to improve TB treatment all around the world. Jenny explained that I had XDR-TB and that my chances of surviving were really low. Only 30% of XDR patients are cured using the old and toxic drugs available. She said, however, there was a new drug called linezolid that might work, but there was no guarantee. I agreed to take the drug with the other drugs, including a different injection. During these long months, there were lots of ups and downs, more drugs that failed, more months of living in fear. Then finally, they found a regimen, that combination of drugs, including linezolid, that worked. While I was taking the treatment, I blogged on the TBNV site. The feedback was overwhelming there, knowing that someone from across the world cares. That really helped, and eventually I was cured. I was like, my battle against TB was finally over. But for countless others, it is just the beginning. Treatment for TB is spreading people all over the world. Only 48% people living with MDR-TB are cured, and far less with XDR-TB. There is hope. For the first time in 50 years now, they are developing new drugs. Yet the people who live in the West can't have access to them. Because new drugs are not going to be cured for TB, but new drugs combined into new regimes, which is not happening now. Even now, the new drugs are expensive and hard to get hold of. In South Africa, where I come from, the drugs that help me cure is expensive because Pfizer has a permanent monopoly on it. It's around 60 euro per pill. When I had linezolid, it cost MSF 60 euros a pill. And I was lucky that MSF could afford the treatment for me. Now MSF has a special permission to use the generic version, which is more affordable in South Africa. The rest of the country has to buy the expensive version, which prevents the majority of people from accessing it. Patents make medicine too expensive for patients and government to afford. The problem is much bigger than one drug alone and threatens people's chances of getting new drugs in general, especially in lower-income countries like South Africa. This is a big problem as the country grants almost every patent application filed. Companies can get a patent on everything, including combination of drugs. South Africa must change its laws to prevent companies taking advantage of public health crises. The government must Government has been working on this for the last 6 years, but progress is painfully slow. The delay is costing the people's lives of the patients while lining the pockets of the companies as they gain more patents. It's a problem of profits before patients. So now I am working on a new fight to improve treatment for TB patients at home and around the world. Profit must no longer come before patents. People's rights to health must come first. Government must stand up to big pharma who rally against change. I've given speeches, marched, and co-authored the Global Drug-Resistant TB Manifesto, which got signatures, 55,000 signed the manifesto. Then I delivered it in Geneva to the World Health delegates. The 3 demands there are simple. Everyone must have access to diagnosis and treatment for drug-resistant TB. We need new MDR-TB drug regimes that are far shorter and don't have life-destroying effects, and government must fully fund the right against TB. I handed the manifesto to the World Health delegates in Geneva. I asked them to act now to make the demands a reality, and they committed to a 20-year plan of action. But it can't end there. We have to make sure governments follow through. There must be change, and it must happen now, because TB is already a public health emergency. Together, we can make the demands in the drug-resistant TB manifesto a reality. So what will it take? First, we need more money to research and development of new treatments. The TB drug pipeline now shown here just isn't good enough. Yet the opposite is happening. Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and Novartis, they are all leaving TB research because there aren't enough profits to be made. Government need to step in, but they also aren't giving enough money to make treatment a reality. Urgent research is needed to find the best way to use the new drugs. Together, right now, doctors do not know how to use the new drugs. They are just jungling their TB treatment now and see which one works. Finally, we need to ensure the new drugs reach the people who need them the most. Patents make drugs more expensive and difficult to test in combination with other drugs. It's clear we need to be spending more on research, but also doing things differently. The current system now is not good enough. We need to test multiple drugs in combination as early as possible during research. Right now, we just add single doses to new drugs to weak combination. If you test products together throughout the research and development pipeline, the final product can be a complete regimen of several new drugs. But to make it easier to test combination, research organizations and companies need to have a reason to want to share scientific data. They need a reason to make compounds available for testing in combination for new regimes. What will give them the reason to want to work with TB? Well, obviously money, but money given in a different way. Right now, companies invest in research that they think will earn them a lot of profits. But we want them to develop the best treatments and we want affordable treatment. So how do we spend money differently with this project? We have the 3 Ps to guide us: push, pull, and pull. Well, push funding to finance research and development activities up front. This means government give grants to research organizations to do TB research in the first place. Pull funding as a reward for reaching a certain target. This will be a prize for having a compound reach a certain stage of development or for developing a new good combination. And pooling of patent rights in exchange for receiving push or pull funding. This means that since researchers have already received a reward, they give up their ability to run competition. This makes it easier to test combination of drugs together earlier, and also means we have the lowest prices as soon as they're new regimen. It is a system based on medical need that supports innovation, and most importantly, places the patient first. Drug-resistant TB needs better drugs that are less toxic, drugs that don't take away hearing. And the South African government must fix the patent law so that everyone can have access on life-saving drugs. Well, to find out more, you can visit the Access Campaign website listed here. Thank you.